My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
The holidays start here at Kroger with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. Whether you're making a traditional roasted turkey or spicy turkey tacos, your go-to shrimp cocktail, or your first Cajun risotto, Kroger has all the freshest ingredients to embrace your traditions. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Choose from a great selection of digital coupons and use them up to 5 times in one transaction. Check our app for details. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. We are trying something new, guys. Sorry about that.
I wasn't sure if you had to hit hide again.
Yeah, we're still learning, y'all. I'm working on a whole new interface, though, and it is a booger, but it's going to be really cool when we're done. So it's just time to up our game a little bit. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi Fruit Loop. What you know?
Did you know, and I'm glad because I do not wear this, but did you know that most lipsticks contain fish scales?
Oh, wow.
Man. It's also known as pearl essence, and it's what gives the lipstick the shimmering appearance it has.
Well, okay. I'll take that. Y'all don't want to see these little pale lips without lipstick on this camera.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, Too Cool T-Shirt Quilts. You can go to toocooltshirtquilts.com/Pretty Lies and Alibis. Check them out. They'll know we sent you. Fruit Loop, what can they do?
They can take your T-shirt and make them into a quilt that is too cool.
Yes, they can. Can I say, I had like 3 people at CrimeCon ask me to repeat that for them.
Oh, really?
It's really funny. And then what you know, I had a lot of people say, hey, can you say what you know? Yeah, funny stuff. It was so fun. I'm still like, I came back and had all this stuff happen. So I really haven't had a lot of time to process CrimeCon. Yeah. I have to say, okay, so you guys know I went to that Pike County Massacre podcast, kind of like a round table, whatever you want to call it. I have binged season 1 and part of season 2 today. I have to say, I highly recommend it. If you guys are interested in this case, it gives so much backstory. I don't want to take what they've done and put it on here. So you guys go check that out. Joseph Scott Morgan is on there a lot. He always gives amazing insight, but that trial's coming up. So I highly recommend that podcast. Is phenomenal.
Cool.
Really good stuff. So real quick, Lori has a hearing tomorrow, and that's regarding moving her trial dates to prevent improper severance. That starts at 12 Eastern, and it should be live streamed.
So those of you that are in Mountain and wherever else, it's our time, 12 Eastern.
Right, but it's 10 o'clock their time.
Yeah.
Local time is 10 o'clock. So, and also, I think this is kind of old news, but I'm just catching up on it. Chad's hearing on June 8th, which is the motion to disqualify the state's objection and motion to strike. That hearing will be closed and sealed. We won't see anything about it.
Boo.
I know, right? So This was filed in response to Chad's motion to disqualify the prosecutor, the out-of-state prosecutor, the special prosecutor, and disclosure of Rachel Smith's cases and a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah.
So I, remember Pryor said that he would not argue to disqualify anymore. What this is about is Boyce didn't rule on that memo he filed, I think. So I don't think it's really anything earth-shattering we're going to miss, but I hope this doesn't become the norm.
Yeah.
And it kind of has been, but so real quick, we want to give a big thank you to Leanne and Jessica both for the donations. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
it helps us. And yeah, so thank you. So can I just say, I think Sherlock understands that I'm in a mood lately and that I'm not the happiest I normally am and kind of, been a little sad lately. So he's been overly affectionate with me and it's really sweet, except for he'll lick my face in the middle of the night to wake me up. And that little tongue is pretty abrasive. So
like
I literally thank goodness for makeup. But Fruit Loop, last night, 3:30, I woke up, couldn't go back to sleep, just had a lot on my mind. So I flipped my TV on, like have my healing tones on, hippie stuff, right? And I hear Sherlock, his little bells ringing as he's coming down the hall. I'm like, oh, he's here. He's going to love on me. He jumps on my bed with a dead mouse in his mouth.
No. You know why he's doing that?
No.
He's wanting praise and he's bringing you something. He wants you to be proud of him because that's what he's supposed to do is to kill mice. So
okay, so here's I totally had another idea. I thought, well, he knows I'm sad and I was crying and he just got me a gift.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what to do because it was dangling from his mouth. It was completely dead.
No.
And so
I'd have tell you what I'd have done. I'd have jumped out your window.
Yeah, well, that was option number 2. But I don't feel like, having a compound fracture of me leg. So I decided to just in a day, just picked him up and he kept the mouse in his mouth. And then afterwards, I'm thinking, man, if that thing had fallen out of his mouth, like on my foot, we would have had the ambulance here because I'd had a heart attack. So I don't know. I hope this is not going to be a thing, but he's almost overly affectionate. Yeah. And it's kind of sweet.
They sense it.
They do. My uncle's dogs, my Aunt Angie's dogs, they have found a shirt of hers and they pulled it over and like they fight over it, but they lay on it. It's really sweet. Animals are amazing.
Yep, they are. But mice, no.
No.
Can't do those. I will make a new door out of any house if a rodent is anywhere near.
Rodents or snakes? I'm out, dude.
Snakes I'm good with. But
you have one in your house like last year.
Well, yeah, I did. A snake, yeah. I was sweeping and I looked in the corner and it was like one of those. Is that really what I see? Yeah.
Oh, dude. No, see, I would have burnt my house down and moved.
It's a baby snake. I don't mind snakes because they kill mice. There you go.
I mind snakes. I will not kill a black snake, but we have copperheads around here. Like I had a baby copperhead on my porch like in the fall or sometime last year. And I called my dad. I was like, Dad, come here. So anyways, we're going to talk a little bit about the Duggars. So we know Josh's sentencing is coming up on the 25th, is a week from today. But a few things have come out about that. But first, there were some unsealed court documents from 2017 where Jill Duggar accused her dad, Jim Bob, of verbal abuse. So, yeah. So in the filing, Jill says, I saw a whole new side to my dad once my husband and I started making decisions that were best for our family, but not in his best interest. Sadly, I realized he had become pretty controlling, fearful, and reactionary. He was verbally abusive. Our relationship is not good. It's pretty toxic. Here's my thing that just blows my mind. So Jill gets a nose ring, dyes her hair. Oh my goodness, shows her knees in public and she's kind of banished from the family, but Josh a pervert and
I don't understand it.
Singing his praises and supporting him nonstop. Dude, this family, not all of them, but man, creepy. She said she will occasionally text on a family group thread, but she also said she does not feel comfortable being around Jim Bob in a casual setting, saying it isn't good for my mental health right now.
There you go. If it ain't good for your mental health, don't do it.
That's it. You got to walk away.
Yeah. So the docs also say that her and her husband, Derek, were asked not to come over to Jim Bob and Michelle's house unless they were given specific permission. Man, you got to get an invite. Part of the reason for Jim Bob's feelings are the fact that Jill got a nose ring, drank alcohol, and wore pants instead of the modest dress code the Duggars live by. It also mentioned that Jim Bob failed to give the sisters who were victims of Josh's molestation adequate therapy. It also says, unlike most who claim to have been sexually assaulted, the plaintiffs in this case were forced to live with their alleged assailant for years after their respective assaults. The plaintiffs were also not provided treatment, or at least adequate treatment. None of them can even recall the name of the counselor they vaguely recall talking to once as a group with their mother and parents in attendance. And that was to deal with the trauma of the assault. No real measures were taken by their parents to ensure their safety during the remainder of their adolescence.
Yeah, that's crazy because,
Yeah.
I've always thought that they've hid this for so long. I mean, this had already happened when they signed on for this TLC show. So they, gave this false United conservative, whatever belief system they have front. And I know people aren't perfect, but there's an escalation in things. Maybe I mean, I know people that are big churchgoers, and I don't judge anybody. You do you. But, when you're getting into covering up criminal behavior, you've crossed a big line.
Yeah. And I think it's for me, it's common sense. If something has happened, and I know he was 15, 16 when it happened, or whatever.
Something like that.
Like, you still got to take measures to make sure your kids are safe.
And there's so many of those kids.
Yeah.
I mean, when you choose to have that many kids under one roof, your number one job as a parent is to keep them safe.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just, it's almost like you wish the parents could be charged for essentially covering it up. I mean, I know it's too much time's passed, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't either. So Michelle Duggar spoken out asking for leniency at Josh's upcoming sentencing on May 25th. In a letter to the judge, Michelle wrote that she wanted to share some things about Joshua's character that may not be fully known to the court. She says she hopes a fair and just sentence is determined. Joshua has a tender heart and he is compassionate toward others. She continued, if someone is having a difficult time, he is one of the first to encourage or try to help them in a tangible way. He and his wife and children have helped many others by doing cleaning and repair projects and lending a helping hand. Joshua has always been a positive and upbeat person. She wrote, he is wise financially, saving money for the future and purposing not to go into debt. He is a good provider for his family, working diligently and thinking of creative ways to support and take care of his wife and children. He is also generous and shares his resources with others in need.
Oh, okay. And she also said he's organized, and he set a good example of applying himself eagerly to his work and in many other responsibilities that he carries as a husband and a father. And she also commented about his marriage and married life with Anna and their 7 kids, saying they have built forts, learned how to work on bicycles and other vehicles, gone camping, hiked, fished, and played countless games and sports together. She requested that Josh be reunited with his wife and family in a timely manner and signed it by dotting the I in Michelle with a heart. I know you love your kids, but to me, it's, I don't know if I would be interested to learn. Is this one of those things where the males in this religion are just considered the leader of everything and the woman is just submissive and a baby maker and that kind of thing, and you don't have an opinion? Because it goes back again to Jim Bob, the way he reacted to Jill doing very normal, natural things, which is, if you live in a household that's very oppressive, when you get that little bit of freedom, you try new things. And she can't come over without permission, but I don't know. So, his wife, Anna, also wrote a letter to the judge. I tweeted out, over the weekend, all of the letters that have been submitted to the judge so far. His wife, Anna, wrote, Joshua sees the best in people and is willing to walk alongside them to help make their dreams a reality. I ask that you consider reuniting us as a family again soon. The happiest part of the day by far is when Daddy comes home from work and his cheerful voice fills the house. My children and I rely on Joshua for financial, emotional, and physical support. He is an engaged dad who gladly throws a football with his sons, listens to our daughters play a new song they have learned on the piano, and helps answer homework questions, or lends a hand sweeping up spilled crackers. He is a kind, loving, supportive, and caring father and husband, his primary focus in life. Do you not think that she sat in that court case? She sat in his trial a lot of his family sat in this trial, and it's like they just don't grasp that he's guilty of this.
Yeah, and we had several people reach out to us when we first covered this, and they said that this is what she's supposed to do.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not of that whole idea that you're submissive to anybody, regardless of your
yeah,
gender. I don't care if it's religious based or whatever. But this is a step further. This is just you turn the other cheek, regardless of how foul your husband is.
yeah. Here's my thing. I mean, she's saying all this stuff, how he interacts with his kids, and he's all this stuff, but he's doing stuff to or seeing things and sharing things and whatever else he was doing with kids his own kids' age.
Yeah, I mean,
So
and
they're somebody's kid,
right,
I
exactly.
mean,
I don't know. I just, my mind explodes anytime I really read anything about the family's reaction to all this because it's just so far in left field.
mhm,
Um, she goes on to say he attentively listens to people's hurts and struggles and attempts to resolve them. She goes on to talk about Josh bringing her this. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped the whole thing. This is a neighbor of Josh's who wrote about his financial support of a widow and says he has met people to whom he has given cars in an effort to assist them financially. He attentively listens to people's hurts and struggles and attempts to resolve them. She also mentioned about how Josh brought her medicine during the pandemic when she was pregnant and had gotten COVID. So, yeah, I mean, look, people can do good deeds all day long, but you're only the product of your worst deed in a situation like this. There's nothing redeemable about his character. And
yeah,
it goes back from that 15 years through the Ashley Madison scandal. I think some adult star had said he scared her when he was
yeah,
with her.
yeah,
Just predatory behavior.
yeah.
So what about let's talk about sentencing. They filed, and we're not going to break these down because they're huge files. But let's talk about sentencing and what the defense and the prosecutions asked for.
So his defense is asking for a 5-year sentence in their 53-page filing. They say even before this court pronounces its sentence, Duggar's life has already been shattered. His reputation, career, and family have all suffered. They asked the judge to place what allegedly occurred here in context and also said the crime was less severe than other child abuse material cases. But if you remember, the investigator said this was in the top 5 worst he'd ever seen.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, Someone accessed this material, viewed some of it, deleted all of it within a few days, and then never sought anything like it ever again. It is only fair that this court place the allegations into the context of cases of this nature, and in that way, this is less severe than the lion's share of child abuse material cases that end up in federal court. Others wrote letters of support for Josh, including his wife Anna, which we read, family, friends, members of the Duggars Church, saying he is compassionate, generous, and committed to his family. His attorney says Josh maintains his innocence and intends to exercise his right to appeal, but also accepts that the crime for which he is being sentenced is serious. But in crafting that punishment, Josh asked that this court consider this crime within its proper context and consider the person he really is. The prosecution is asking for 20 years. His cousin, Amy Duggar King, spoke out on Twitter after family showed their support for a light sentence, saying, "Sickened by the news lately. I have so much to say leading up to the sentencing, and I'm not afraid anymore. First of all, Josh is funny, charismatic, kind, and all the things my aunt listed in the letter. But there's a sinister side, a side to him that makes your skin crawl. You can't ignore what he did years ago and what he was caught looking at. Are they delusional?"
Yeah. Cousin Amy's always been the voice of reason in this family.
Mm-hmm.
So did you ever watch this show?
I did a few times, but it just wasn't it's not my
Yeah.
cup of tea.
Same. I did see like a season where she came on and all those poor girls are there. I mean, not poor girls, there's nothing wrong with wearing like a long skirt, but these kids were forced to do it essentially. And then like Amy's over there and, cut off shorts and blue jeans. And she's just the opposite of them. So she tweeted Anna and she said, "How can you call your husband loyal and faithful? Did you forget his Ashley Madison account? Danica Dillon," that's the adult star, I think, Did you forget he has had a huge porn addiction for years? No loving, honest, committed husband would ever disrespect their wife like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone can have good qualities, build forts, help people, smile for the camera, give to the less, she put unfortunate, but it's fortunate, and work hard. But who is he when no one is around? That's what matters. His character is mud. And then she ends by saying, Judge Brooks, you'll be receiving a letter from me very soon. You go, cousin Amy.
Yep.
Today, I also read she gave an interview to In Touch Weekly and said, I honestly don't think justice can be served 100% for those victims. I've actually looked up some prison details lately because I'm trying to get an idea of what's really going to be happening to him. And I would be very, very, very fearful if I were him. She said she would celebrate if he got the maximum sentence. And then she posted some TikToks this past Saturday, and she said, if a man is cheating on you, if he is looking at things that you're not aware of or that you're not comfortable with, if he's lying to you in any type of way and making you feel inferior or hushing you up, he's using you. He doesn't truly love you. I know that's hard to hear, but let's stop letting him treat you like a dog. You cannot allow that. You can stop the abuse at any time. Anna, I love you. I've loved you since day one you've entered into our family, but let me tell you something. You are showing women all over the world that follow you that it's okay to have an abuser in your home around your beautiful children.
Wow.
What else does she say?
You're showing everyone that it's okay to cheat. It's okay to use me as a rag doll. It's okay. Have more respect, self-respect than that. Ashley Madison, ? Hello. She also said of the Institute Basic Life Principles Ministry it's a cult. She has reached out to Anna with no response, and she says the Institute Basic Life Principles can and will limit who you can contact.
So that's kind of all for Duggar. It's, it's typical. I'm not shocked to read any of this at all. I hope they give him the maximum. I had read somewhere and then I lost it, but they were trying to, I don't know if the prosecutors were saying there is a special set of circumstances for aggravating factors where they could actually give him more than 20 years, I think. But, with federal sentencing guidelines, I think 12's what a lot of people agree on that he'll get, like 10 to 12 will be that maximum. Hey, 10 years in prison will not be a cakewalk. So there's that. You're muted.
My bad.
I was like, I can't read lips.
It's Kung Fu Theater. And again, we're talking about somebody who's never been in the system.
Right. So this is good. Even jail. We've covered this extensively. Big difference. You're in with the big boys. People like him are going to be targets.
Yeah.
So he might get to go to one of those little cushy where it's all sex offenders, and that way nobody's really at risk. They have those prisons where it's just all sex offenders in one building, and then that way you're not such a target. Whatever.
I've been in one of those. It's a little weird. So
yeah. So Orrin Orson West, we haven't heard much lately. What we know about that, Fruit Loop?
So the trial for Trezell and Jacqueline West has been postponed until July. It was originally set for May 23rd, but the defense asked for the date to be moved to July 25th, and the judge granted it. They were indicted in March for 2 counts of second-degree murder, 2 counts of cruelty to a child, and falsely reporting an emergency.
Yeah, a crazy case. They think that they were murdered actually 3 months before being reported missing, and their bodies, as we know, have never been found.
No.
So the boys' biological mother and grandmother have filed a lawsuit seeking $40 million against Kern County, saying the boys were unlawfully taken from their home. And they were taken initially after an emergency room trip where Orrin had multiple broken bones. And they also alleged that the county ignored their reports of abuse they suspected when the boys were placed with Trezell and Jacqueline. They were placed with them in late 2018. Their grandmother said she was told she met the qualifications by the Department of Human Services to have them placed with her. But in March 2019, the request was denied. And ultimately, the department said the best interest of the boys was to stay in the West home. So Trezell and Jacqueline were approved to adopt Orrin and Orson in September of 2020. And 3 months later, they were reported missing. So when they were approved to adopt. That's right when the boys went missing. It makes no sense.
No sense at all.
Well, people that know them have spoken out and felt that Orrin Orson may have been a cash grab. So you never know. They obviously, hopefully they have some motive that will be revealed at trial. It just, So the last thing we're going to talk about is a little bit of Murdaugh news. So there was an amended complaint filed in U.S. District Court here in South Carolina by Nautilus Insurance Company, who paid the claims on that Gloria Satterfield settlement. Why don't you tell us what happened?
So back in March, it was reported that Alex had signed a confession of judgment, which is a written agreement signed by the defendant that accepts the liability and amount of damages that was agreed on. The amount was $4,305,000. And allegations by Nautilus. Murdaugh pressured Nautilus to settle the claim, threatening a suit for bad faith against Nautilus if it refused to pay policy limits. Murdaugh was abusive toward the Nautilus adjuster handling the claim and demanded Nautilus pay its full policy limits, threatening that if the case against him were filed and went to trial, he would admit liability and the judgment would be substantial. Immediately following Satterfield's fall on February 2nd of 2018, Murdaugh rushed to the scene, arriving before EMS. On March 29th, 2018, Murdaugh stated that Miss Satterfield briefly regained consciousness, during which time she stated that Murdaugh's dogs had caused her to fall. This statement was heard by no one else and is contradicted by Miss Satterfield's later statement to hospital staff that she had no idea what made her fall.
I hope they have some kind of digital communication, some text messages or something.
Yeah.
Because, dude, he's dirty. I'm sorry. He's dirty.
Yeah. Yeah. So immediately following Satterfield. Oh, wait.
Sorry, I doubled that. My bad.
Law me. I was like, wait, didn't I just
There's
say
not enough coffee in the world?
No, I thought I misscrolled. No,
you didn't misscroll. I typed it twice. That's a bad thing.
So, Murdaugh stated to multiple third parties in Hampton County that he was liable for Gloria Satterfield's fall and ultimate death, an admission against interest that all but ensured that there could be no challenge to liability, and securing his ability to force Nautilus to contribute settlement funds that Murdaugh and the co-conspirators stole.
Yeah. So on or about March 22nd of 2018, Murdaugh stated to an independent adjuster with the intent that Nautilus would rely on his representation that shortly after the fall, he heard Miss Satterfield say that Murdaugh's dogs had caused her to fall. Miss Satterfield made no such statement and later told hospital staff she didn't know why she had fallen. Murdaugh repeated the statement on March 29th, 2018, during an interview with Bryant McGowan, an insurance investigator, again with the intent that Nautilus would rely on that representation. He made these false statements knowing they were false and intending that Nautilus would rely on them. Specifically, he sought to mislead Nautilus and force it to contribute to a settlement that was not real. This dude is racking up the charges. He currently has 10 civil lawsuits that he's named in, one of those being federal. He's currently facing 82 criminal charges. 79 of those were from the state grand jury and 3 are local indictments. Still got a lot of charges to go, I think. But man, this dude, crazy. This is like one of the biggest fall from graces. This is like a Southern Dynasty Netflix multi-series jackpot case.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's like Lori Vallow and kind of crazy, just sort of on a different scale.
Yep.
I still think we got murder charges coming though.
Never know.
I think they're leaking that stuff to Mandy just to kind of wet the whistles of all of us who are waiting for that shoe to drop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is a very, Scott Reich is really intrigued with this case. We talked about it a lot out there. Very interesting stuff. I told you guys about the pictures that Fitz News put out showing like Alec taking Jello shots from some young girl in a bikini on a boat and like, what they're doing is saying that Maggie and Alec knew of the heavy drinking with Paul and provided a place to do it and encouraged it, didn't tell him it was wrong. Nasty, nasty stuff, y'all. Phew.
Yep. Crazy.
So tomorrow we're going to go over this hearing. I don't know. This is about the improper severance. So that could be interesting. Maybe we will find out. Is it going to be October or January?
Yep.
And like we said on the episode earlier this week, seems like they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. She wants the speedy trial, but then she wants to be with Chad and she's not objecting to January. So I wonder how the courts would do that, because I know Scott Reich said it's for the state to ask for this. It's a little risky in his opinion, could become an appeal issue down the road. And if it's overturned, that's it. Like, she would be free.
Yep.
But at the same time, I don't know how it would work if her lawyer says, hey, she is okay with waiting until January, then maybe it wouldn't be, I don't know.
She, like we said yesterday or whatever day it was, she's going to want to be there with Chad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is going to be the last time they'll see each other ever.
Yep.
Unless they happen to pass by a TV in the common room in the prison and, oh, there's my husband.
I'm going to tell you, they think they're going to conjure up a earthquake or a portal or something.
I wonder if Zulema going to conjure up a natural disaster so they can run out holding hands and stuff.
Oh, Lord.
That's a Lifetime movie waiting to happen. So anyways, all right, guys, that's all we have for today. We will watch that hearing. I'll try to post the links for everybody to follow along if you want. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe, share it with your friends. The more people like the Elithrogram, pushes our podcast out to people who might be interested based on what they already watch. So it helps us out. And, we certainly want to grow our audience. We try to do it right. And so we ain't going to buy followers. We're going to do it organically, but we need y'all's help. So we appreciate it. You can get merchandise at www.prettyliesandalibis.com and follow us on social media, all that good stuff. But you guys have a good night. We will see you tomorrow.
The holidays start here at Kroger with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. Whether you're making a traditional roasted turkey or spicy turkey tacos, your go-to shrimp cocktail, or your first Cajun risotto, Kroger has all the freshest ingredients to embrace your traditions. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Choose from a great selection of digital coupons and use them up to 5 times in one transaction. Check our app for details. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.